watching the Fox 13 4 o'clock news.
It's been a wild ride for the real estate market over the past few years, especially here in Tampa Bay, where we've seen prices quickly rise. Sky-high interest rates have also made it difficult for people to buy. So what can we expect in 2024? Well, joining us now is realtor Melanie Atkinson with Smith & Associates Real Estate. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
What is the housing market like in Tampa Bay right now?
Well, at the risk of sounding overly optimistic this early in the year, we are seeing signs of good, healthy activity for the housing market again this year. The two factors that were really weighing down the market last year, high interest rates and low inventory, we are already starting to see those shift in the right direction to create hopefully a balanced market, but one with a little bit more activity this year than what we saw last year.
All right, so you broke down some winners and losers for 2024. So who do you see as being the biggest winners?
Well, anyone who has owned a home in the Tampa Bay area and bought prior to 2020, if you're looking to sell, you are sitting on most likely a lot of equity because we've seen house prices go up so much. So if you've been waiting to sell and you want to cash in on that equity, then this year might be a good time to do that. We are also seeing buyers be more winners this year than they were last year. Obviously, if interest rates go down, we're still not going to be in the 3% like we were before, but they are going to be down from where they were last year when we saw them in the 8s. And we also are seeing a lot more inventory. So if you look at it that way, buyers are going to be winners next year as well. Hopefully they'll have more options.
So do you think some of the people that maybe were afraid to sell their house because they had those low interest rates and didn't want to lose that might be more likely now to buy?
Well, I think if you're a seller, you're going to turn into a buyer or a renter, and no one really wanted to be that last year. So sellers didn't want to lose their interest rates. Now, interest rates are not going to go down too much, but I think sellers are just getting kind of tired of staying in the same place. So any shift in the market and interest rates going down will hopefully get some of those sellers off the fence and some of the buyers off the fence. That
Move in the right direction, right?
Moving in the right direction.
Did we talk about the losers, biggest losers?
We didn't talk about the losers. So there's two types of sellers that I'm a little bit concerned about for this year. Sellers who bought not that long ago. So if you bought maybe in the last 2 years, especially in new construction communities where you're having to compete against builders, I'm concerned about whether they will be able to sell their house for what they bought it for or to sell it and cover their closing costs. The other sellers that I'm worried about are sellers that have houses with buyer objections, obvious buyer objections. Either the house is in disrepair or it's on a bad lot or anything like that. When buyers have more choices, they tend to overlook those houses and those prices will have to come down, and getting sellers to understand that can be tricky sometimes.
Yeah, a couple of years ago it was just give me a house, right? Give me any house, I'll take it.
There's a buyer for every house.
But you said we're going to see more homes.
Yes, so hopefully we do see more houses on the market. I can tell you that from a new construction perspective, I was out with buyers over the last couple of weeks, and there's a lot of inventory that is in the builders' pockets right now. They have a lot of land in the north central part of Pasco. A lot of builders have a lot more inventory than what we were seeing. I mean, we were fighting for new construction 2-3 years ago too, and now they have lists of houses.
Nice. So let's talk about the cost of living in Tampa Bay. What do you see there? It's kind of been getting a reputation for being a little high.
Well, there you're talking about bringing in the other factors of homeowners insurance, property taxes. Those things I don't think that we're going to see a lot of differences in this year because there's really no reason that property insurance is going to, or homeowners insurance is going to start going down.
We wish.
Yeah, maybe one day we can get that fixed. And then property taxes are based on property values, and those aren't going to go down too much either. So really, for cost of living purposes, we're looking for maybe a decrease in prices, although that's not really what I think, or just a decrease in interest rate, which will then make their monthly payment lower. From a renter perspective, I do think that there's more inventory out there for renters, and hopefully rent prices will have stabilized. They've already kind of stabilized and will hopefully start going down a little bit. So for renters, I think the cost of living is a little bit better this year than we were last year.
Well, that's good news for a whole lot of people, especially our young folks.
It's still expensive to live here now, much more.
Once again, great advice, Melanie. Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome.
Chris?
We appreciate it always. Thank you, Melanie. All right, still ahead here at 4, helping support our local veterans. We're going to show you